Well, I'm under strict orders not to cry, and after Dominique's speech, I knew that was going to be hard, but I'm going to do my best. It's so good to be here. It is so good to be here. And when I got the call from Bill, I was in my office, and I usually, as everybody knows that knows me, and certainly the players, it's really never a time that I don't have something to say, something to add, or ever at a loss for words. But I truly was. I truly was when he said that I'd been elected into the M Club Hall of Fame. I truly, truly was. Because I know what that club is all about. I know what the people that have put that together, the Packey family, so many people for all these years that absolutely love Marquette University, that love athletics. I know what it was like to be a fellow coach. I know what it was like to watch the student athletes. I know what it was like to be a fan. I know what it was like to as our children grew. I knew what it was like to feel it as a parent. And there was never a day, never one day, I wasn't absolutely proud to be the head coach at Marquette University. And it is with incredible pride that I accept this on behalf of so many, because now you've heard from all the student athletes and what they learned, all right, and how they thank their coaches and the people that helped guide them. And now on the flip side, I have all the people that I got to guide to thank. The more you coach, just like the more you're a parent, they go hand in hand. You realize that you are only as good as the people that you're surrounded with. That you are only as strong as the weakest link that you're surrounded with. That you are only going to succeed if others succeed, not just because you did, but because you helped support them in every possible way. And my 9 years here were full of that. They were absolutely full of that. And it was unbelievable passion to watch them succeed. It was unbelievable passion to drive them. Because I learned a long, long time ago that as a coach, all right, and especially when you're the head coach, your main responsibility, no matter what, is to drive greatness out of everybody that is with you, no matter who they are, no matter what their role is, no matter what their age is. If they are with you, if they are under your care, if they are under your guidance, if they are under your watch, your job is to drive greatness out of them. Even when they don't want it, even when they don't know what it looks like, even when they don't know what it feels like. Your job is to feel that for them so that they can feel that at a given point in time. And it's really hard to coach with patience. And it's really hard to coach with perspective, so I just coach with passion. And many days I was wrong. And many days there were, I'm sure I need to say I'm sorry to players even to this day, okay? But there was never a day that my heart was not in the place for what we wanted to drive out of them, to drive this program, to drive this university to be what it could be. And that's probably one of the reasons I was so stunned when Bill offered that, because I was floored, because I know what kind of big deal it was. And after I got off the phone, we shared some memories, obviously, but after we got off the phone, it just kept coming. It just kept coming. And as I get here today, all right, and as I see everybody here today, the memories just keep coming, and we all have these connections. Whether we know each other or not, whether I coached you or not, we have these connections. Because we're a part of something that they say is bigger than yourself. Marquette, to me, never had to take a backseat to anyone, to anything, at any time. It never did. And I learned that a long time ago as a kid sitting back in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, watching the national championship game when Al McGuire's in Atlanta, and he wins that championship. And I didn't know much about basketball. But I know there are a couple memories in my life that absolutely hooked me on this game, and that was one of them. And all through my life, right, being a teenager, being a young coach, being an aspiring head coach, Marquette was always at a pinnacle. It wasn't another job. It wasn't another place. I came one time to watch Kevin O'Neill conduct a practice as I was going to recruit in the afternoon. I got to see the team lift weights in the morning, okay, over in the old gym. I got to see them practice. And it's like, that's what basketball's supposed to be to me. That's what it's supposed to be. I got to work for some unbelievable people in my life, okay? That's what basketball was supposed to be to me, because it was about how hard you worked, but how much you cared about working hard so the other person would succeed as well. That's what being a member of a team is. That's what being a member of a family is. And Marquette always epitomized that to me long before I ever got here. And we practiced in here when I was meeting. Long story short, I was going to meet with Bill Cords. I was at Michigan State. We were playing in the NCAA tournament here. And I was coming for a meeting with him. And I had that meeting. And later on that night, or no, I'm sorry, the next day, we went and practiced over in the gym. And I thought we'd had a good meeting. And there were people actually like, oh man, this is old. Oh man, this is unbelievable. All right, the ropes hanging, the 6 baskets, the balcony. All I could keep thinking about was, man, John Wooden conducted practice at UCLA, and other sports were conducting their practices upstairs. I'd never seen it, obviously, but I'm like, this is so cool, because that's what basketball is supposed to be. Now, don't mistake it, the Al McGuire Center is unbelievable. We were a huge part of watching that get built, but this was nuts and bolts, which is what all greatness comes from. All greatness, all achievement come from nuts and bolts. It comes from the hard work. It comes from the ground up. And that's what Marquette is so much about. That's what it had always been about. And that's what it's about today. And to be here at a time to help maybe bring that back, reawaken that, and get people behind it, maybe that weren't behind it or had gotten away from it, and to get people to see, all right, when it came to the recruiting, we could compete with anybody out there. It didn't matter that we were in Big Ten country. It didn't matter. We could compete with that because we had substance, because we had structure, because there was a foundation, because the education was incredible, but because people cared. And I came in a fan, and every day I learned exactly why. Because after that time of getting that opportunity and getting this job offer and getting a chance to come in here, I got to see just how fortunate I was. Because I didn't see obstacles. I didn't see negativity. I didn't see we don't have this, we don't have that. All I tried to see every day was this passion for this opportunity that's here. And if I could feel it, man, I was darn sure going to make sure that I could find people that would feel it too. And I really didn't want to be around the ones that couldn't. I'd try for a while, then we'd move on. Let's go find somebody else. But 9 years in here, we found so many people. I didn't know that about the 6 out of 10 leading scorers. I saw that yesterday. I had no idea about that. We found so many people that fought the fight in here because they believed in Marquette too. They believed in themselves. They believed in their abilities. They had people in their lives that believed in them. But they learned to believe in Marquette because they learned to believe in each other on a daily basis. And there's so many stories that obviously I don't have the time today to be able to cover, but there are so many things that made a difference here. And it really goes back to the 4 foundations of our recruiting. And I learned this along the way, working for different people. Really, I learned so much about what matters from my high school coach who's here. Because I've been surrounded by great coaches. But Tom Izzo's in the Hall of Fame. None greater than Denny Kuiper. None greater than my father-in-law, Jack Harbaugh, who I had, obviously have had so many years to watch coach. But Denny Kuiper took a chance and an interest in a high school kid, junior high kid, that didn't have a lot going for him when it came to athletic ability and academic ability and things like that, and never took me for granted, and he allowed my passion to flourish. And I got to work with him here, and he's a big part of this program now with Shock. He's been a big part of my life since the day I met him. And there's so many people here that fit that. That comes from home. That comes from Mount Pleasant. But the people that I got a chance to be around here, they helped take what I thought was a vision, and they helped make it a vision. And the 4 cornerstones that we wanted to recruit from, okay? We wanted to recruit year-round winners. We didn't want to recruit people that just won some games in high school and didn't win in the summertime, because AU and summer play, man, those were big things. Recruiting other sports. Wes Matthews, if he's not playing with the best soccer player in the state, he might have been recognized as the best soccer player in the state. People don't realize that about Wesley. But he played with a young man that I think was AP High School Player of the Year in soccer. We loved recruiting our other sport athletes because they competed. You put Dominique James on a football field, you put Jarrell McNeil on a football field, okay? Maybe not Steve Novak, but Travis Dean, I'm kidding, Steve. But you put those people in other environments, look out. They could have been doing it other places. And the bottom line is we wanted to recruit people that won. It didn't matter what the sport, it didn't matter what the team was. Did you win? Did you win? Did winning matter? Did winning matter? Did it matter to you? Did it matter to the people around you? And in so many cases, when we hit on those winners. We hit on those people that were year-round winners. I can remember so many games. I can remember Jarrell and Maurice taking on Thornton High School, correct? Thornton, ranked number 1, USA Today, ranked number 1 on a Tuesday night, their first ranking. We go in, they go into the Lions' den. They go in at Hillcrest High School, they win the game, okay? There's Jarrell's dad leading the cheers. There's Maurice Acker's dad wanting to fight every Thornton fan in the building. And you think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. He wanted to fight them all. And there's Maurice and Jarrell watching Dominique play, all right, in the tournaments, watching those packed gyms in high school, okay? Watching Travis Diener and Fond du Lac, all right, watching the following that they had. Watching Steve Novak go 45 of 46 from the free throw line as a sophomore when we were recruiting him. Be out in Germantown, I believe it was, the football kid that went to Northwestern. Pewaukee, my bad. All right, how Steve Novak lasted through his sophomore year. They had one of those little gyms, okay, where here's the end line and here's the back. They must have shot. It was like being at UCF with no ring. I mean, they just kept throwing him into the wall, okay, to try to punk him. And every time they did, he just went right to the foul line and made more free throws. Winner. Winner. I can go right on down the line. Winner. Knowing Rob Jackson's background from high school. Winner. Trent Blackledge. Winner. Terry Sanders with Vincent, then at Hargrave. Winner. Wes Matthews, winner. We can go right on down the line, okay? They won in the summer. They won in the winter. They won. They won. The other thing they did, okay, is wherever they were at, and this is where the coaching, I see Chad here, the coaching was, they weren't part of good teams. They were part of great programs. And you got to recruit great programs. Every time I've gotten away from that, I've made mistakes. They were part of great programs. It didn't mean things were handed to them. It didn't mean things were easy. It didn't mean they were coddled. It didn't mean they jumped 3 or 4 high schools, 6 or 7 AAU teams. They stuck it out because they had people that persevered with them, that helped them persevere, that helped them understand what this would take, all right, that helped them get mentally tough. And those were such a huge part of what you wanted to recruit. And another big part of it was, okay, were you recruiting people, okay, that weren't just the players that you were recruiting, but you were recruiting their families. And you were bringing families into this. And were you bringing their families into this environment? And I could stand up here for hours thinking about Dominique's grandma, Terry's grandpa, Rob's family, Jarrell's dad, Maurice's mom, Bob and Vicky, Steve's parents, all right, Pam Moore, okay? Dwayne Wade's mother got to see him play one time. I never met Dwayne Wade's mother during recruiting. Never met her. Never met his dad till Midnight Madness his first year. His mom got to see him play one game. She got to see him play one game. It was the game we beat Cincinnati to win the Conference USA Championship. But man, you talk about an inspiring force through life and somebody that was driven by wanting to see his mother be successful. I got to coach that every day. I got to coach people every day that were part of something bigger than themselves long before they ever got to Marquette. That's why Marquette wins. That's why Marquette is successful. That's what makes this what it needs to be. When you have people, when you're bringing the families in, and it's getting harder, okay? There's no doubt that it's all getting harder, but it doesn't make a difference. And the last thing was this, and this is probably the thing I'm most proud of, because my 3 children are here right now. My daughter, Megan, who was here for 9 years. My son Riley, who was born 2 weeks after we got the job. My daughter Ainsley, who was born here 2006. My wife Joni is not here, unfortunately. She had an accident last week at home. She hit her head. She's dealing with some vertigo. She's dealing with some wound in the back of her head and a concussion and just unable to travel. But she'll be none prouder than knowing that Dominique invoked her in his speech. And I couldn't be more thankful. You talk about a partner in this, somebody that absolutely gave what she had every day to not only watching Marquette basketball be successful, but this university based on anything she could do for it. That's my wife, Joni, and I think a lot of you that know her know that. You know that that's true. The most underestimated part of recruiting is this. Recruit people that you want your kids surrounded with when you're not there. Because you're not going to be there all the time with your children if you're going to bring them around your team. They're going to go to the back of the bus. They're going to be at practice. They're going to be around the office. They're going to be on the trips. Every job I've ever had, I got it negotiated that my family could make every trip no matter what. No matter what. Life insurance, okay, in case something happened to me, and could my family travel to every trip? Thank God Bill Cord's Father Wild, Greg Klebon had no problem with me having that because that would have been a deal breaker. Because I wanted my family to be around this. I'm so proud that Megan and Riley got to be in this environment for 9 years of their life with these people, with these players, for those bus rides, those plane trips, those hotel trips, those bus trips, those days at practice, those days at our house. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that because that means we did well. We evaluated character well because there are 3 foundations of the program, okay, that had to be there every day, that you got to fight to make sure that you get every day. Number 1, you got to build on somebody's character. Number 2, you got to build into their toughness. And number 3, you got to help make sure they understand the level of unselfishness that's needed. Because whether it was 1999 to 2008, whether it's today, it is hard to get people to understand that they are a part of something that is far greater than them. But if they will pour themselves into each other, then they can have something greater than they ever thought they could possibly have. That's what it was like here. That's what it was like here. And I'm so proud of the people. Joe Chapman, watching Joe Chapman, all the things we've been through. And so much of it now is texting or watching the games or watching the TBT, but so much of it's Instagram. Watching the parent he is, the businessman. I could go down the line. I'm not trying to miss anybody. That's the last thing I want to do today because I'm proud of them all. I'm proud of them all because every one of them came in here and left Marquette in better shape than the way that they found it. And most of them found it in a pretty good place. But that's what we had here. That's what this is about. This is what your program deserves. This is what's happening there now, I believe. This is why this is a special place. And the reasons that it was able to be carried out, okay, that we could find people, okay, right now, that could come in every day mentally ready, that could come in every day with energy, that could come in every day ready to compete, okay, because the people that we were surrounded with. Father Wild was an incredible president. Not a good one, not a great one, not an average one, a great one, a phenomenal one, an incredible one, because he allowed us to build something that he really maybe didn't know what it was going to be, but he allowed it to happen. All right? Bill Cords was a phenomenal athletic director. I'm so disappointed that I don't get to see him, and I hope that he's going to be healthy. Where we needed to go with this program was different than the era that Bill Cords was an athletic director in. But Bill Cords had the wisdom and the vision and the mindset to say, run with it. Run with it. I trust you. Run with it. Let's build it. He allowed, okay, me to pursue a vision. Greg Klebon was right there every step of the way with that vision. I mean, every step of the way. That's why it was so important that Dominique James and others meet a great Cleveland, because he was a caretaker of this program, because he made it be what it needed to be. He allowed it to happen. All right, he said, yes, let's try that. Yes, that's good. Yes, let's do that. No, think about this, okay? Because when you got people that are invested, you take no pretty well. When people are judgmental and dogmatic and they don't want to change or they don't want to do that, I never took no very well. I hope I never do. But when people were invested, man, you could understand no, because that meant we were really trying to get to yes. The man that deserves so much credit for what's going on here, along with Father Wild, along with Greg Kleban, okay? All right, along with Bill Kortz, is Mr. Dick Strong. Because that vision that he had, and where it really came in light was this. There were two people outside of this program that I worked with on a day-to-day basis, administratively or in the basketball program, that gave me the courage, the vision, and helped guide the conviction to make this what it needed to be. It was Dick Strong, and it was Al McGuire. I got a year and a half with Al McGuire. I told my staff the other day, 55 years of age, head coach 22 years, coaching numerous other places. I don't know if I could name a better experience than getting a year and a half around Al McGuire at the tail end of his life. He made it okay for me to be the coach here. He made it okay for me not to chase his shadow. He made it okay for me to lean on him. He made it okay for me to run. He made it okay for me to look forward. He made it okay for me to compete against everything that was out there and not worry about it. And Dick Strong helped make the vision possible. And we worked together. I tell this all the time about Dick Strong. All the money, all the success, carte blanche. He never, ever went to a game, never, ever came to practice without asking if he could or calling before. And if there was anybody that could have done whatever he wanted in my 9 years here, it would have been Dick Strong. That's the humility and the character of that guy. And then it got even better when Mike Broker got here. Because Mike was full of passion and energy and vision and had been places, and he didn't have any idea that Marquette wasn't supposed to be one of the greatest programs either. See, because every time I met somebody new, I remembered what I learned when I was taking this job. There were 3 coaches in the league at that present time that basically, in a nutshell, one said, basically, there's never really a crowd unless we come. The other 2 basically said, you'll never have a home court advantage. That drove me just like waking up every morning when I was learning how to use the internet to turn into the Louisville Courier-Journal, okay, the Cincinnati Enquirer, and when John got to Memphis, the Memphis Commercial Appeal, because that's who we were chasing. That's who we needed to be successful. There was no way we were going to accept that this program couldn't be at the top with everybody else. There was no way. And I thank God that I got the opportunity to do it with people that had vision, that people that supported, with people that weren't worried about credit. We went from averaging 6,700 fans. 9 years later, we were at 16,453. That doesn't happen with one person. It doesn't happen with 3 people. It happens with the most important ingredient a university and a team can have. That is full family support. Todd Scheel of Music in Motion, Lee Fannersteel, who was assistant video coordinator, those guys deserve as much credit for what happened in game management over there as anything else. Because we just sit there and come up with ideas. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's do this. Let's gold this. Oh, the adults want something to be connected to, too. Let's get the gold sweater vest. 500 of them were sold out in 3 days. Let's try it. Let's try it. That doesn't happen everywhere. Marquette let me do that. I surrounded myself with people that made me better, and I was fortunate enough that God put me in the will of God to be surrounded by people that could see the same thing. And that's why this was such a wonderful time with building this up. I thank everybody whose lives impacted ours in 9 years. I thank everybody whose lives have impacted me from that day since, because I got to coach them, because I got to lead them, because I got to nurture them, because I got to get after them to help bring greatness out of them, because I got to enjoy the joys of great, great joy and go through the bitter disappointments that come along with it and get right back up and go again. Because I want to be a living, breathing example for my 3 children on what it means to persevere, be tough, get through everything, and understand that if you put yourself in the will of God and you trust God and you do everything you can do to help other people be successful, even when you're wrong, things are going to work out pretty well. And I thank God that I got the opportunity to be the head coach here for 9 years. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.